My late father-in-law, Alan Fortunoff, endowed the video archive at Yale University back in the 1970s. He saw that paper documentation alone did not convey the power and depth of what had occurred in the way that witness testimony does. And the Fortunoff Video Archive at Yale was the first such archive in the world. This was long before the Steven Spielberg Shoah Foundation project. And the operative principle there is that the eyewitnesses, the survivors themselves, are the experts in their own stories, and that we're there to listen. That was very important for me in doing this book about Siggi Wilzig. It meant not demonstrating that I had literary skills. It meant not getting in the way. It meant creating, if you will, a literary environment, a print environment, where the stories could take life. There's a difference between spoken words and written words. And so to be respectful of what those who went through the Holocaust know, my obligation is to not layer literary meaning, redemptive meaning, salutary meaning onto their stories. And that's a temptation. We don't like to think that we're part of that same human race that could produce the Holocaust. We want to be able to get up tomorrow morning and go on with our lives. And if you look at the depth and the scale of the tragedy, that's the stuff of nightmares. You know, you don't get over the Holocaust. So there's a temptation to want to make it a brighter story. You know, look at films, everything from Schindler's List to Inglourious Basterds and Jojo the Rabbit and Jacob the Liar with Robin Williams, Life is Beautiful with Roberto Benigni. You know, they all misappropriate the Holocaust and make it a background to the story that the director wants to tell. Even Schindler's List. Steven Spielberg is a storyteller. You know, do we really believe that at the end of the war, black and white turned to glorious color and the survivors of the camps linked arms walking over the hillside singing Israeli folk songs? That's not history. That's Hollywood. But it's understandable, because to stare into the depth of what happened is to stare into something that you will never get over. The reason why I did this book about Siggi Wilzig is that he showed me another dimension, one that I had not been aware of, that it is possible for someone who came through that to actually learn joy again, learn to love again, to have a family. I mean, Siggi Wilzig was the kind of man who was such a joy lover, he would get up in restaurants and start singing and dancing. You know, and people would ask his family, does he own the restaurant? And they'd say, no, he just loves his life, you know. That's why I thought this was a story worth telling.